Alright, Tony Dragon here, and I'm about to react to... Oh, shit, never mind. No. Cat. Yeah. Hey everyone, Tony Dragon here, and I'm here to react to the premiere of Season 5 of Epic Rap Battle. I really enjoy these rap battles. A lot of them are really fun. Some of them not too much, but it almost feels like they're just they're just stallers, kind of like fillers, just to get to the next big one. But J.R.R. Tolkien versus J.R.R. Martin. Now, I am very familiar with J.R.R. Tolkien. I should probably just call him Tolkien. I don't need the J.R.R. in there. That's a little mouthful. But I'm very familiar with his work. Lord of the Rings, I love them. The Hobbit movies, yeah, I feel like there should have been only 2 of them instead of 3. But, money. But Lord of the Rings, I love them. And J.R.R. Martin, I am familiar with him in the sense that I know of Game of Thrones. I believe that's where he's from, right? Yeah, as you can probably tell, I've never actually watched Game of Thrones. And there is a good reason for that. It's not that I don't like it. I love fantasy. It's one of my favorite genres. I love sword and shields. I love dragons. I love medieval characters. It just everything about it. It fascinates me. But I never got into the Game of Thrones hype because I didn't want to get into the hype. I wanted to watch the show and view it, and get my own interpretation of it. I didn't want to, get stuck in the middle of people screaming it's the best thing ever and other people saying it's overhyped. Because that's how usually shows that get that much hype end up. They get so much drama. But it seems like it's died down a bit. There's season 6 now. People are still saying it's one of the best things ever, but they're not so in your face about it. And neither are the people who hate it just because they get annoyed at those people who love it so much. So I might start watching it finally. Because again, like I said, I love fantasy. I want to see fantasy. Great fantasy shows. But anyway. We're here to decide who is the better rapper. So, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. J.R.R. Tolkien.
Here we go.
Gather up your trolls and your soldier elves, and your ants and your barks and your whores and your stings, your dwarves and camdrains. Cause there's a new every lord in the ring. My fingers falling up with every character I've written, and I kill them. And they're like, what are you doing? Your bad guys die, your good guys survive. We can tell what's gonna happen a page in H5. You're all seeing how to find some sex in your movie. Yeah. Ditch the Goonie, cast a couple boobies. And then your
Oh.
neighbors are known. Your hobbit heroes can't handle my throne. Queens, dragons, dwarves, horses, fortresses, magic and soul. You must be my whole shit, you uninspired. You want to war, George? Welcome to J.R.R. In both sales, you got nothing to say. I'm number 1 and 2. You're under 50 shades of gray. I got the pros of a pro. Your shit's so poor. Pirate even stole my armor. We all know the
Oh shit.
See, it's true to life for characters that die randomly. But newsflash, genre's called fantasy. It's meant to be unrealistic. You might have humanity. I conscientious sleeves what you're doing on these beats. I'll cut you like my teeth on Beauty and the Beast. You went too deep, Professor Tweed Pan. We don't need the backstory on every fucking tree branch. I got my teeth in the trenches of the Somme. You locked your Santa Claus ass through Vietnam. And it's hard for me to take criticism on clothes. From a dude who says I'm raving to say hi to his toes. Your fat jokes are worse than your pipe smoke. My show's the highest thing on HBO. I'm rock and roll, you're a dirty little image. And I may be dirty, but you got a hairy foot fetish, dog. Even the names of your characters suck. You got buffers and buffers and brands.
Oh. Well, okay. It almost feels like I need to know more of Game of Thrones in order to pick a decisive winner, because a lot of George R.R. Martin's raps seem to be based entirely on his success, on Game of Thrones success. And I feel like maybe if I knew more about the show, I could outright say he was the winner. But because I don't, it was kind of more difficult for me. The whole R.R. thing, was just kind of not necessarily. It was kind of cool, but at the same time, just like he didn't choose his own name. It's not his fault. But the best point is fantasy. The fact that it's not supposed to be realistic, and on some sense, he's not wrong, but he's not completely right either. Fantasy is meant to put a sort of realistic character into a fantasy setting. Like, the characters at least need to be realistic in how they would react to this fantasy world, because we as the audience need to sympathize with them, and, in order to actually have a connection with the story. You can, the world itself can be as fantastical as possible, and from what I've heard and what little I've seen of Game of Thrones, there's definitely a lot of fantasy elements, but it's also rather realistic in its political dealings. Again, I don't know. Don't take my word and say like, he thinks he knows what he's talking about. It's just from what I've seen and heard. But so that could say that the whole fantasy thing is, there's no basis for it, because there is a lot of fantasy elements to Game of Thrones. So, who won? Who won? Like I said, if I knew more about Game of Thrones, I feel like I would immediately just say George R.R. Martin wins, hands down. There was no contest to begin with. But because I don't, I have to give it to Tolkien, because I'm more familiar with Lord of the Rings, and I really still love Lord of the Rings. Its story, both the books and the movie. But I have the feeling like if I did know more about Game of Thrones, I would immediately give it to Martin. That's just a feeling I have. Maybe I'm right in that feeling, But for now, Tolkien wins. Maybe down the line while I'm, watching Game of Thrones, I'll just say to myself, like, yeah, Martin should have won the rap battle. I'm stupid. Who knows? But, yeah. This was a great opener. Probably not one of their best, but it's hard to top some of the great rap battles they've had before already. But I'm excited to see what they do for season 5, and I can't wait for the next one. Till then, I'm Tony Dragon. Bye bye.